Hello and welcome to this week's vlog. This week I've been planting apple trees. Just going to finish off today. Beautiful weather, fantastic. I'm going to start the video off with recorded video from last autumn showing you the difference between my trees on my small orchard in Plymouth that are now 12 years old and an orchard that was planted exactly the same time on exactly the same aspect just across the valley on the same soil basis. Now then, this is not me saying how wonderful I am and how bad they are. This is me just showing you what the implications are if certain steps are not followed. As you can see on this video that you're now watching, this is the rival orchard, if you like. It's nicely spaced, the trees are growing away, but there are problems in as much as that they have never ever controlled the grass around the base. And I would also criticise the pruning a little bit, less so with that because that can be relatively forgiving. But bearing in mind these trees were planted at the same time as mine, or shortly after or shortly before, I can't remember when it was roughly the same year anyway, you'll see the vast difference in trees. Now if you look at my orchard is small. They're planted a little bit too close together. That was something I got wrong. They were planted in bare soil and allowed no competition from weeds. Grass was kept away. I know there's grass there now, but that was not the case back in 2012 onwards. I kept it just soil, and I did give it a bare amount of water when it got really bad in a couple of dry years. Nothing, no regular watering, just a couple of good deluges to make sure that they didn't suffer too bad. Now then, if you look at my orchard once again, it's really nicely formed trees. Most of them are trained to pyramid shape. The one on the left is a Michelin, wonderful trained tree. It sort of did its own thing really. The next one over by the compost bins is a Dunkertons. Totally wild, will not conform to the pyramid. It's done its own thing, and it's like a normal orchard tree. Again, that's fine. The other three are roughly pyramids. Pyramid is not necessarily what I'm going to be banging on about today, but it's just a form of training that really suits an allotment growing. More on that another day if it's requested. So looking back at the orchard on the hill close by me, you can see the trees are far further behind, you know, perhaps 2 or 3 years behind mine. Mine's been given regular crops for 6 years now, and you know, some real whopper crops as well. So I think I basically got it right. And the only real differences between the two is how I've treated the grass. I have not allowed grass growing, whereas the orchard that you're looking at has allowed the grass to grow around the roots. Grass around the roots will impact on the trees in a dry year, and we've had a couple dry years in those 12 years, and I think it's set them back very much, you know, a lot. Okay, so let's get on with the planting. Square hoe helps the roots meet the sides and go out into the open ground. If, like mine, you've got compression issues and, or should I say compaction issues, and it's a sub pan underneath, there's no harm in basically doing a double dig, if you like, and loosening up the bottom of that pan, not remove it. So if you get the chance, always choose bare root trees. They're going to get away faster and acclimatise to the soil far easier. This one here, I've nurtured along for the last couple of years, because it is a variety that I don't think I can get very easily. And I thought I was going to get the field last year. It didn't happen. So I kept it going these, and they've done fine, but they'll soak and not get away quite as fast as the bare root trees. So there's your... Now if we left this in here like this, all these roots just carry on going round and round in circles. So we have to remove as much of the soil as possible. There's no easy or spectacular way of doing this. It's just a matter of teasing it all out. Try and avoid breaking the roots if you can, but some damage can't really be avoided. Oops. If you've got long roots like this, they're never going to stick in a hole. You can't root prune them. And again, this one, not too severely, just the longest roots that aren't going to go in the hole, because what you want them to do is get out into the soil, straight out into the soil. That's the idea of a square hole, to deflect them going elsewhere. And you've got plenty of smaller roots here that will get away. I see, that is about perfect now. And here's another life lesson. This is a tree I planted in 2012 after my other trees. It was in a round pot. I was in a rush. I thought it'd be okay, but it never escaped the root ball. It carried on growing in a circular manner, dwarfed the actual tree itself, ruined the crops, had to be dug out. The small amount of fertility that's in there will be more than enough, and that is fine. And that's just a matter of backfilling And there he is. Now if you want to firm it in, do not put your full weight on it, just a light step. I mean, that's probably more important for me because of the size I am than you guys. Better just to firm it down gently, and that'll be enough. And then it's just a matter of filling the hole in. The most important thing at this stage is to make sure you don't go above this. This is the grafting joint, and it's the rootstock below that governs the vigorousness of the actual plant. This one will have a much more vigorous rootstock, and I don't want that. Tree tie next, around the stake. Oh, come on. Nice and tight there. And then around the tree. Now to have the rabbit and deer guards on. At this point I decided to check the trees that we planted, not applied the rabbit guards, and they've been here already. That's one day I left these for, and the tree is possibly ruined. This could get canker in there and anything. So massive lesson learned. 3 trees attacked. I shall have to get all the guards on tonight. Why oh why did I even think it would be okay for just one night? Disaster. There we are, there's a well planted tree, post facing the prevailing wind so that the tree gets support when it needs it, but it still can twist in the high winds. Tie wrap, keeping the tree relatively stable but allowing it a bit of movement. This helps the roots get out. The green there is a rabbit guard, nothing else, just a rabbit guard. And the silver strong wire mesh is a deer guard. The deer could harvest up here, of course, but at least then they're not going to kill the tree because they've got, we've got buds that will follow on. Bit of a disaster if they do, but you know, let's hope that's not the case. But this stops them actually killing the tree. Well, thank you very much for joining me. I hope you've learned something today. Even if it's the rudimentary basics of mulching around your trees. I know there's none here at the moment because I haven't got any wood chip because it's all in Plymouth, because my car is being fixed. Once the car is fixed, I'll bring a nice little mulcher with me and I'll mulch around a metre around these plants. Make it look nice, keep the weeds down, keep the grass down in particular, and give it the start that it deserves in its life. And this one will produce a lovely crop of apples in a 3, maybe even 4 years time. See you there, guys. Now this tree is an absolute disaster. You see this here? This has either been damaged by a blow. I don't think it was because I was kept quite safe. But such a big wound on a tree, taking all its bark off around this tiny bit of bark around here. It's just going to be terminal. this is going to have drastic action. The only way to do this really is a really heavy cut. I'm going to choose these two buds as the ones remaining and cut just above there. I'll use loppers to get a nice clean cut. Hopefully this section will generate